Hey, what's going on, friends? This is Nurse MJ, and it is still post-op recovery. So I think it's like day 5. Let me see. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It's day 6. So as you can see, I'm up walking around. I'm feeling good. Okay, I'm feeling good. And it's still, still gonna be a process. And I'm okay. I'm feeling okay. I'm not walking as fast as I usually do. So I know, I think maybe tomorrow or a day after, I think I'm going to take a walk outside, like go a little bit longer as far as distance is concerned. But I'm definitely, feeling good. Oh my goodness, it's warm again outside today. It was really nice yesterday, and I was outside just kind of chilling on the porch. But it is such an amazing, feeling to be back out and up and moving around, semi limited, but I'm okay. And even if I sit and rest, I usually get up and up and down, up and down. I do rest because I do have like this pulling sensation on my stomach. It feels like, something is just sitting, it's just dragging my stomach down. But I know that part of that recovery experience is that you're going to feel like something is, pulling on the stitch area. And also remember too, I think a lot of times we forget that we're also healing on the inside, but because we can't see it, our minds will tell us you can go faster, you can go harder, and that'll be the first mistake you make. So if you're like someone who's physically active, you love moving around, I totally get it. I really do. What I would suggest is listen to your body. Okay, yes, you listen to your mind, like let it push you just a little bit. Like when you know you've been sitting around for too long, get up and move around, because again, you still run the risk of getting pneumonia. You still run the risk of blood clotting, so you don't want to just be sitting for too long a period of time. So I would suggest getting up and moving around ever so often. Of course, relax. Don't overdo it. If you start to feel any like cramping or pulling or achiness and things like that, then go take a seat. Okay. Obviously, if you feel any kind of pain beyond what you're supposed to feel, so if like pain is increasing, or you start noticing like very severe pain in the surgical area and it's not being relieved by rest, then you want to go and seek medical attention, period. Okay, if you start to notice any bleeding after a surgery procedure, go seek medical help. Anything outside of what you are supposed to experience, okay, remember that. Anything beyond what to expect. Now, I wanted to share too, y'all, because I had an experience where when I got discharged from, a surgery center, things didn't quite go as planned. Okay, it didn't quite go, well, I wasn't given instruction. I don't want to say it didn't go as planned, but being that I'm a nurse, I know that there are certain things that you have to expect, when you get anesthesia, what the types of recovery, but that doesn't mean that as a medical professional, you're still not treated as a patient when you're going in for a procedure. So any of you out there that are medical professionals, do not let anyone, look over that part and assume that you know what to expect, because at the end of the day, you're still paying your insurance. You're still one of the patients. And really, the discharge instructions is for your caregiver in the immediate moment, because they're the ones that's going to be taking care of you for 24 to 48 hours. And then after that, you'll have the documents and paperwork so that you can read it as time continues to go on for your recovery. All right. So with that being said, when I left the surgery center, I did not get instructions of what to expect. Okay. And that's a really important piece for your caregiver, because your caregiver needs to know, in what am I going to be looking for? What's to happen? So if you are carrying someone with you, make sure that they ask for discharge paperwork, okay? Something for them to either write down, they can email it, they can put it on paper. I would always suggest letting them give the person paperwork, so that when you start to come out of the anesthesia, sorry, I'm just all over the place. When you start to come out of the anesthesia, then you have some documents that you can read, right? So that's number one. Also, that's number one. Number two, those discharge instructions, again, is in the event of a medical emergency at the moment during the first 24 to 48 hours, because anything can happen. Again, it is surgery on the inside of your body, so you can't even see what's on the inside of your body while you're monitoring the scars and the surgical wounds on the outside, okay? So that's number one. That's number two. The discharge instructions are really for your caregiver, okay? So that they know what to do in the event that they see any symptoms, okay? So those are the two things that are really important about discharge instructions. Make sure that that person gets them before you leave the facility, and let that person know, do not leave without some type of instructions, okay? And then I know I was going to tell y'all that I was going to update you on what actually was the outcome of my procedure, because from the day I was discharged, from the day of the procedure up until yesterday, I really didn't know what was happening. Like, I knew I was recovering. I knew what I had signed to go in to do, but I didn't really know if it actually happened, what actually happened, right? And that's another part of discharge, is on your discharge summary. If it's like a general outpatient setting where I went, they typically won't give you like details about the procedure. There is supposed to be somebody there that would be able to explain something to the caregiver or the person, or to you, but obviously you're going to be loopy, so you're not really going to be paying attention anyway. That person, should be like a post-op nurse that is able to explain, here's what happened. Here are the surgical sites. This is what you're looking for, blah, blah, blah. But ever since that day, I still hadn't received any update on what actually happened. So here's what actually happened. The outcome was that they removed the cyst. The left ovary also had to come out because it was on my left side. And they took out both tubes. And here's the crazy thing. I sent an email and a text the day after. I'm sorry, I emailed on the portal, because a lot of medical centers now have portals where patients can inbox and email their providers and get a response back. So I did that the day after. And then on that Friday, I called asking for someone to call back. No one called back. So I went an entire weekend with no outreach, okay? Then on Monday, finally got an answer, okay, late in the afternoon. But luckily I got an answer before. But here was the answer that I received, okay? After I emailed asking what was the outcome and things like that, what I received was someone telling me that my left cyst, the cyst was drained, okay? And then the ovary, the left tube was removed. And I'm sitting there like, what? Where's the rest of, like, are you serious? Because listen, for this very reason, I went in to get both of my tubes taken out so that I can come off birth control. So if one of them is still in there, I would think that that was some important information for me to know, so that I would have the next decision to say, okay, I need to resume the birth control, or, my husband and I will have to have a conversation about an alternative where now he would have to go in and do a procedure. So it was just like I had so much frustration, and I tried not to, but I did, because to have to wait an entire weekend and a few days in before the weekend came, I didn't see no visit notes, no nothing. And so I was hot, okay? When I got the nurse on the phone, when I called that same day, and I called on yesterday, I said, wait a minute. Somebody's going to come to this phone. And luckily it was a nurse that I'm familiar with. And I explained how I was feeling, okay? And again, as a patient, you have rights, okay? Patients have rights. You have a right to know. You have a right to be fully informed. You have a right to have a questioning attitude, not to be nasty and disrespectful. Don't get it twisted, but to be able to sit there and express how you feel and why you felt that way, and if someone can answer your questions, okay? And so I, ended up asking that person, to speak with my doctor to confirm what really happened, because the notes had not transferred over from the surgery center as of yet, which is kind of weird. But anywho, the nurse confirmed verbally with the provider that my everything was taken care of, that we originally intended on happening, but I was hoping that they would save the ovary, but unfortunately it was most likely compromised, or the cyst was attached to it, and so it wasn't going to be any way to keep it there. And I'm okay with that. So, my next process is down dealing with the potential of some hormonal imbalance, but I'm going to be looking into supplements as well as certain foods in the plant world, because I'm going to be supporting my lifestyle moving forward with whole-based plants and food, through that food. And that's because, I know the power of food. All right. We all know processed foods and all that other junk sugars is not good, especially if you're recovering, because it causes inflammation and all kinds of other crazy crap that's going on. So the last thing you need is something processed or ultra refined sugars that's going to knock you way off balance. Give yourself some time. You're not gonna just go crazy. You might have a little detoxing or whatever, but cravings might be crazy, but you'll be fine. So that was the outcome of the procedure. And overall, I'm feeling okay. I'm still bloated, going through a couple of gassy moments. I did have to use a stool softener and some senna leaf tea or senna tea to jumpstart my bowels, because by the time I got to maybe the 4th day was coming back, I was like, okay, I haven't moved my bowels. I know I feel the gas moving, I feel the bubbling, but it was so slow, and it just felt like it didn't want to come down. And I don't like to be uncomfortable. I still have a good appetite, but I didn't want to keep eating, and it's just piling on, and then I have to strain. Definitely a no-no after you've had abdominal surgery, period. So I did, and that's part of the process, is if you find yourself more than, 2-3 days without having a bowel movement, you start low, go slow. You want to drink plenty of fluids. You also want to eat fruits and vegetables, because they contain the best and the most fiber. And also it helps, your bowels to stay loose. They don't get hard. That happens with a lot of meat and processed foods and carbs and things like that. So I would, highly suggest hydrating very well throughout the course of a day. If you have to jumpstart, your bowels, I have seen the recommendations, and I spoke to the nurse again who called to check on me. She did mention, and I kind of knew it again, being a nurse, that that a stool softener and a suppository would be just fine. So they know I drink herbal teas and things like that, so I was okay with that. And if it came down to using an enema, then that's a backup resort if the other two don't work. And then if all else fails, then you need to call your doctor, because the last thing you need is to be backed up and it starts leaking or you get septic. All that, it's a lot that can go with it. But anywho, other than that, everything is okay. I'm in good spirit. We got through that little hurdle, but I wanted to use it as a teaching moment because it can happen to anybody. Just because I'm a nurse, again, doesn't mean that I should be dismissed as a patient. And I wanted to, educate because I wanted to advocate. And I also, made my concerns very well known because, again, I wanted to advocate for others so that no one else experienced that, or the slim chance of someone experiencing that is next to none, okay? Because there are people that will go into a procedure and they don't know. And they may not go research, and they may not understand how all of this works, or what to expect. But as a patient, you want to advocate for yourself. You want to express your concerns, your feelings, and know that you have rights to feel that way. You have rights to know what happened to you during the procedure. You have rights to ask questions, period. You paid for a service through insurance, whether you didn't pay up front out of pocket, whether you're paying through co-pays, doesn't matter, okay? If you're paying insurance, you are paying for a service, period. In a story. So you have the right to be treated with a certain level of respect and dignity, hands down. Okay, so I'm gonna go and give me something to eat. And I hope that this was helpful to someone. If you're just coming in and you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm glad that you're here. This is part of a series of a surgery vlog. So if you didn't catch the ones before that led to my decision on getting to this, to this place, then hop on back over and check out the one where I did surgery vlog, and I'll put the link. I most likely will put the link to the first video in the comments here, okay? So you can start and watch from there at your own leisure. And hopefully if you're having to face this specific thing, then again, I'm all ears. Drop a question, drop your concerns in my comments, and I or someone in my community will be more than welcome and helpful to answer that question. And who knows, that I can turn your question into a video, because just like you, somebody out there has the same question. And don't be afraid to ask and find answers, and I will prayerfully be the one that can be the answer or can help you get you to your answer. And with that being said, I'm out of here. Later.